Good evening and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Enemchuku and I'm your host for the show. Joining me live in the studio for this conversation, I have our political analyst, Mr. Olatunji Oluwafemi. Good evening, sir, and how are you doing?
Good evening, Sharon, and thank you for having me again this evening.
Welcome to the show. Now we're diving straight to the conversation. First on the list is the fact that we're seeing protests in Abuja at the Ministry of Works in Abuja against Dave Umahi after the controversy surrounding him owing a debt for more than 2 decades to a woman called Madam Tracy. We're going to take a look at some of these videos as we see how prepared Nigerians came to the scene of the event. Let's have a look.
Said and our officials from Ministry of Work, the message to the Minister David Umahi must be that he must know that he's the...
Bring it, show them. My tear gas mask is here. We get prepared. We are aware that they might tear gas us. And so we bought tear gas mask. We have Vaseline. Since Nigeria has decided not to work, we have decided to make it work. Yes. This is just to show you we are prepared. 100%. Our reason here is simple. Umahi, what's your problem? What do you have against Nigerian women? Why are you always wanting to frustrate them? Why are you causing families pain? So that woman came and said you've been owing her for 12 years.
12 years.
How do you owe somebody for 12 years?
Now your wife go like her.
Man, they suffer. Oh.
Hey.
One man go work finish for big man.
Big man no go pay.
It needs to end in Nigeria. Now the other woman came from abroad, mobilized people in the diaspora to come and invest back in Nigeria. These people, Bob, you should allow me now. These people bought hundreds of hectares of land and you took it away. Umahi, this woman has been begging you for compensation. Every day crying. In fact, when they were demolishing one of her properties, her own blood and fell and was holding his sister from not collapsing. Do you know that that man eventually died and his heart failed him? His heart could not take the pain of what his sister was going through. And we are here standing in front of the Federal Ministry of Works to say, Umahi, you are not the only minister Tinubu has appointed.
Yes.
We are not scared. Maybe you are wondering why we are here. We are here to show Umahi we are not scared of you. And you are not beyond accountability.
Yes.
You must be accountable. We have brought women to show you that no woman,
no nation.
No woman,
no nation.
Umahi, what is your problem with Nigerian women?
Good
Nigerian
question.
police, we are...
Said and our officials from Ministry of Work, the message to the Minister David Umahi must be that he must know that he's the servant of the people. Yes. There will be no entertaining of oppression of citizens through the office of the minister. There have been ministers before Umahi and there will be ministers after Umahi. Yes. Nigerian women have dignity and they must be protected. Yes. If a woman or a citizen complains of injustice, Umahi cannot use his office to silence them. Yes. Nigerians will not tolerate this kind of irresponsibility and recklessness. Because it is a thing of shame that a man will call himself minister and you can flippantly sit down and say if you want to collect the land, you will collect everything. Yes. What a shame. No woman, no nation. No woman, no nation. Umahi must. No. Umahi must. We must protect our women. Yes. We must protect our girls. Yes. We must protect them from predators. Yes. Whether in office or out of office. Yes. Those of us where the Federal Ministry of Works, let una not die in silence. Come out and complain. You are under a dictatorship. Minister Umahi is worse than Pharaoh. Pharaoh like my people. Pharaoh like... Now only Umahi dey cabinet. Now only Umahi and we can be minister. Shall we not fit drink water drop off for country? Why can we not rest because one person is minister?
One person!
Married women for that matter. No woman.
No nation.
No woman.
No nation.
No woman. We must protect our women. We must protect our girls from predators.
those videos, and that is currently what's happening in Abuja. We remember, just to give us a little backstory of what the people are really protesting about, Dave Umahi, who is the Minister of Works, came out in a scandal regarding owing a huge amount of debt to a woman who goes by the name Madam Tracy. And after she came out to publicly call for help and call for Dave Umahi to pay her money, we saw that Dave Umahi, in response to that, sent the Nigeria police force to shut her up. And that was when we saw activists like the likes of Mama P, Randy Peters, VDM, and the likes coming together to call for justice for this woman. Now, shortly after that, she was even detained at some point and later on released. When we saw Sorore in the picture, we saw Mama P, who came out to stand in solidarity with her. And after that, we're also seeing now that they've taken it a step further by going to Abuja in front of the Ministry of Works to call out Dave Umahi for what they've described as an abuse of his power and authority. Now, this is what we're having, Mr. Oladimeji, the fact that this conversation doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon. And I personally must give it to Madam Tracy, who has not backed down. And the people who have come out to support her, they've also not backed down. But I would really love to have your take on this latest development, sir.
It's a gory sin, and it continues to tell of the impunity of politicians. Some time ago, I mentioned the festering nature of the impunity of politicians. And I also added that the more, the people shift back, the more these politicians fester in impunity. And David Umahi is not different. In fact, David Umahi and Wike, Yaya Bello, they are examples of tyranny in government today. And it's unfortunate that this maltreatment, this injustice is melted out to a woman.
Yes.
And that is why Randy Peter, Mama P, and the likes of them are out there in front of the Ministry of Works, protesting against this barbaric and inhuman treatment melted out at that woman you are holding at about 300 million naira for over a decade.
300 million? I thought it was less than. Oh my goodness.
300 million for over a decade, 12 years precisely.
Yes.
And I just learned this morning that there is a man also, a aged man.
Wow.
That you've been holding for over 7 years.
Another person now.
7 million naira. In fact, the old man was his colleague in the secondary school. Yet he treated him that way. And the man said, I can't even begin to drag him because if I say I should, it will just be tantamount to wasting my time because David Umahi is not a good person.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you have all of these, characterizing your person, it says a lot about who you are. This beastly attitude by politicians is terrible. And I'm saying this today, categorically, that power is transcendent. David Umahi, you will leave one day. I know you've been there since forever. You were a deputy governor for 8 years. You were a governor for 8 years. You were a senator for another 4 years thereabout. And now you are a minister. You've been hitting from the coffers of the public for over 16 years. Running into 20 years now. Nigerians have been feeding you. But the same Nigerians are the people that are they are your punching bags at every opportunity that you have. Such treatment must stop. And for that man who is just coming out because Madam Tracy is not backing down.
Yes, it doesn't look like she's backing down.
It's unfortunate that this is the problem we have in the country.
But
people keep quiet until they have somebody who is coming out.
They need someone who would give them that courage.
That is the problem.
Because for someone like Dave Umahi, and I said this before, for this woman to come out and cry out, it means that there are other people who have been victims that did not have that boldness to come out. But let's talk a little about the people protesting now, because if you take a look at these people, they came out with protection against tear gas, and it's so unfortunate that it has become a norm that anytime Nigerians are protesting, there will be tear gassed at by inside the Nigerian police force. So what does that signify when you saw the likes of Randy Peters and Mama P prepared for tear gas at the protest today?
I think we are getting there.
Okay.
I always say that the day that we decide that we are not backing down, the day that we decide that we will take no more foot backward, that is the day that the Nigerian politicians will come to the awareness that it is done for them. And we're close to it. Now we are going to, the protest ground, not with pillow and mattresses anymore, but we are going there with business.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pointer to the fact that we are getting there.
I love that. I love that you said that. And also, if you take a look back to what Umahi said in response to Madam Tracy's accusations against him, he said, oh, well, it's normal for a man to chase a woman. And that if it was Senator Natasha actually accusing him, he would have come out with more courage. It would have been better. Not someone that looks like what Madam Tracy looks like, in his own words. Now, let's talk about that, because this is something that Nigerians and also the protesters have been dragging him about, the type of statement and sexual objectification of women during this time of this scandal. Do you think that he has done enough to quench the fire, or has he even added to it?
I say this without flinching, unequivocally. David Umahi is promiscuous.
Oh.
He isn't just promiscuous, he's beastly. I saw the video of him trying to wrap his hand around the waist of Dema Ojuku the other day.
I didn't.
Over 2 years now, if not, over 2 years. And the woman understood. Maybe the woman understand that the promiscuous nature of David Umahi, the woman stylishly handled him, his wrist, and put out his hand. Now the same David Umahi shamefully is coming out to say if it were
someone else's wife,
sexually objectifying a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigerians are not the only one who watch these guys. Global community observe these guys. And you are coming now to make a mockery of our institutions, make a mockery of our democracy. And you are coming, soon he will come out to tell you that, oh, he already did it.
Okay.
He said now he's more powerful. He's more...
These politicians will not stop shocking me at this point. Every single time we come here and we try to have a conversation about the type and the quality of politicians that we have, it is so heartbreaking to see. Now, before we move over to an equally provoking video and provoking story, a lot of Nigerians would say, let's take a look finally at this protest and the fact that we have a minister, and this is not any ordinary position, the Minister of Works in Abuja, right? And we saw the other day the FCT workers protesting, and we saw Wike talking about the fact that he was not going to answer them, their requirements were too much. But we didn't really, maybe I didn't, but did you hear anything from Dave Umahi as the Minister of Works?
Up until now, David Umahi hasn't given any remark.
Okay.
But that is not even the bane. The real issue is, what I'm seeing here is, like I said earlier, we are getting there gradually. The people are getting there. One day, Nigerians will wake up and they will say, we've had it enough, and they will occupy the streets prepared like like Peter Aka and Mama P.
But when you say people now, do you mean people or a few? Because there are just very constant faces we see during protests.
I understand that we continue to look. The Arab Spring witnessed frequent faces for a while before that man burnt himself up, and the burning was what escalated. What brought up the Arab Spring. Something will trigger it. Remember that it was the killing in Delta that triggered NSAS. Just that killing.
Yeah,
and it is not that. What do they call them? The SARS guys have not been killing, youth before then. But someday, the guy that was murdered triggered it. And the politicians, many of them eloped the country because they saw that the Nigerian people had woken, finally. well, they sent their military boys to massacre Nigerians. Today, even though the panel indicted the federal government and the state and the Lagos state government, we have not gotten compensation for the SARS.
What really have we even gotten compensation for? We've not even gotten acknowledgement for the Lekki Toll Gate massacre.
That's what I'm talking about. That's precisely what I'm talking about. So it is not about, the few people. One thing is sure, in a revolution, right? You do not need 230 million Nigerians to come out at once. We only need a quorum of the country, of the population, to hit the street at the same time across the country. And that is the end for this microscopic few that are piloting the affairs of this country. So
finally, Mr. Oladimi, before I let you go on this particular story, I like that you're saying now that Nigerians are more interested in fighting and taking back their country. But do you think, from just studying the atmosphere and your interactions with people, have we really gotten to that point where Nigerians are ready to even put their lives on the line? Because there is not going to be any revolution without loss of lives, and without the government. We saw what happened in Iran, the numbers and the thousands of people that were killed. Do you think that Nigerians have gotten to that point where they are willing to just let go?
Before that guy burnt himself up that instigated the Arab Spring, I'm sure many Arabians will be saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to go out there. I don't want the ayatollahs of this world to catch me and co. But the moment that guy, look, there is this microseconds between deciding that, look, I don't care anymore, and fear. The moment you ditch that fear, that is the end.
I like that. All right, thank you, Mr. Oladimi. We're going straight to the second story, and this is also a video. Now, this particular video is not a protest. It is a statement and a video where Reno Mokiri was talking about how he agrees with Sheylo. We remember that last week we saw Sheylo on Honest Bunch podcast, and he said that Nigeria is safer now than 10 years ago. A lot of Nigerians came out to refute that and to drag him because of that statement. But Reno has come out to agree to that, citing some facts, and we're going to have a look at that video and then come back to the studio. Let's have a look.
I believe in the City Boy movement, and I'm going to tell you why. Recently, some people who should know better said that Nigeria is now worse off than it was 10 years ago. Now, let me take your minds back to what was happening 10 years ago. In the Niger Delta, we had Niger Delta Avengers. They had bombed the oil and gas sector. Nigeria had gone from 1.9 million barrels per day to less than 1 million barrels per day. In the southeast, you had secessionists who had put that region almost to a standstill. 128 police stations were shut down. We moved down to the northwest, and then from Abuja to Kanu, you could not drive. Every day it was a death trap. People were being abducted, they were being kidnapped. In southern Kaduna, there was a genocide. People seem to have forgotten that. In the northeast, in Maiduguri, you had about 7 local governments where Boko Haram were in control. Now, because we have a very short memory in this country, we tend to forget about these things. All of these things have passed away. In the Nigerian Academy, Boko Haram went there. Our Defense Academy killed soldiers. Boko Haram attacked the Presidential Guard of Brigades in Buhari. All of these things don't happen. 600 terrorists went with their motorbikes to Kuje prison, freed 849 of their colleagues. All of these things don't happen again. 10 years ago, states could not pay salaries. What's happening right now? Each state in Nigeria is getting at least 200% what they were getting 10 years ago. Somebody said the president is using jazz. No, the president is using performance. We've had 12 cycles of trade surpluses in this country. 12 cycles of GDP growth in this country. The IMF, the World Bank, they've projected that our GDP is going to grow by 4.44% this year. And then people are saying that the president is using jazz. No, it is performance. You watching this, have you ever slept in a petrol station looking for fuel? Have you even experienced fuel scarcity? If you're a student, ASU strike is like a thing of the past, ancient history. Why? Because we have a leader right now who knows how to handle this country because he has gone through the stages. That's why I believe in the City Boy movement. I ask you, these people who are saying that Nigeria was better 10 years ago, let them right now. Because if you remember, last year I drove with journalists without any security from Abuja to Kaduna. People can do that right now. In southern Kaduna, people are no longer being killed. Yes, we have security issues localized, but I'm going to tell you, in December, 1.2 million tourists visited Nigeria, Lagos, for 30 December. Not one was killed, not one robbery, not one domestic incident. So I'm telling you, Nigeria is better right now. We've gone from a foreign reserve of less than 30 billion. Right now, we have a foreign reserve of 50 billion, approaching 51 billion. In 2 years, President Tinubu has added $67 billion to the economy. What is there not to like? That's why I support the City Boy movement, and I'm urging you, remember where we're coming from so that you remember where we are today. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.
That is Reno Omokiri, citing fact as to why he believes strongly that Nigeria is safer, it is better now than 10 years ago. He also cited the fact that he was able to travel freely from Abuja to Kaduna just last year without security, and he still had his head on his shoulders. Now I'm coming to you, Mr. Oladimiji, right? We've heard from Reno Omokiri. Let me have your take on all of these things that he has said, citing security and insecurity data he also mentioned.
I'm boiling.
I can see that.
I'm boiling because persons like this should not be parading themselves freely in our socio-political space. Look, I don't know where Reno is getting. Well, Reno's name is synonymous to mockery anyway. Oh, yes, his name is synonymous to mockery, and he's making mockery of himself every day. So much that Nigerians now understand him for who he is. Someone who speaks with both sides of the mouth. Yeah. You are the same person who told us emphatically that the man who currently sits in Aso Rock is a drug lord. You are the same person who told us that he had no certificate, that he was a forger.
You also said he would never work.
That you would never in your existence work with the man. Today your ghost is working with the man. Okay. But first, that is not my business anyway. For the sake of Nigerians who are not really, good on data, let's briefly look at the presidency of the man who snatched office and currently running with it. Let's go back to between June 2023, when he assumed office, and May 2025, we have had 7,472 people killed. And we've had 12,584 adoptions. Look, Sharon, in Tinubu's first year alone, you can sum it up to get the figures if you like. In his first year alone, there were 4,556 people killed and 7,086 adoptions. In his second year, 2,916 killed. Adoption was around 5,498. You can see the projection, the increase in it. Look, Sharon, I don't know where this guy is getting this information from, but between February, what am I saying? Between January and February, we've had killings as well. And we've had over 1,000 killings. Between January, we're talking about between 60 days. 1,000 Nigerians have been killed. Now let's come to recently. Within 24 hours, Sharon, 162 to 200 Nigerians have been killed. Within 24 hours that we are speaking, 162 and 200 Nigerians have been killed, and we have 38 adoption within 24 hours. Go to Kwara, go to Borno. These places are now the field for murder, for execution of Nigeria, for killings of Nigerians, incessant, needless killings of Nigerians, helpless Nigerians, people that are waking up every day, striving for existence, striving to survive. But the government, the governors of this state, who are collecting now humongous federal allocation, including, they are in the same pot now. They are in the same fellowship now, because all of our governors are now APC. So you can say they are a team now. All right. Yeah. Now the federal government, any government of any country, your first responsibility is the safety of the lives and property of the people. If you fail at this responsibility, then you can be adjudged to be an excellent failed leader.
Mr. Oladmeji, I love the fact that you've given us the facts, right? Because when Reno was talking, he was listing some facts and telling us how it's now easier and it's now safe for you to drive from Abuja to Kaduna. And then it's the same Abuja-Kaduna road that we saw abductions last year in 2025 that he mentioned. And now we're talking about if things are so, my question now is, if things are so easy, if things are so good and the security is top-notch, why was it that when President Tinubu said, oh, let us call back 100,000 police officers back to the force so that we can station them at these hot zones and they can protect the lives of people, why did the senators refuse that?
Well, did you watch the parliament? Did you watch it?
Yes.
Did you see how
they vehemently refused it?
They refused it. Did you see
the fear won on their faces because they were going to remove their aids? Now, these aids are protecting you at the behest of taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money pay the salaries of those people. Meanwhile, those that they are charged or they are responsible to protect, all right, are the ones that are dying in droves. Meanwhile, you are the one who need the protection. Anyways, they said they are the ones who need the SUVs because of their, parliamentarian activities and duties.
Interesting. And I wonder what the average Nigerian would say. What would be the excuse now for asking for security if being a Nigerian citizen is not reason enough? And I'm going to bring us back to a statement made by Major Onoja. He came out to say that he is supporting and he is in support of the policy from the federal government to bring back Boko Haram terrorists into the system and to reform them and make them work for us, right? And he has come out to say that we should remember that these terrorists are first Nigerians and we can't afford to ignore their nationality. What does this mean for us and our security right now when we have the men in military, especially holding top positions, coming out to sort of defend these terrorists?
Sharon, this nefarious attempt did not start today. Started under late Buhari. Buhari was the first person who brought the policy of integrating terrorists. For me, I agree with every other person who says that their job is to arrange the fellowship between, or the meeting between terrorists and God. That's their job. The meeting is left to God to decide where they go. But the job of a government is to arrange that meeting.
Make it faster.
And this is why that policy by the American government is so current and is still very potent. Do not negotiate with terrorists. You can't negotiate with those who have been brainwashed. You cannot negotiate with people who slice the belly of pregnant women to bring out babies alive. You can't negotiate with people who do not have the gumption or the thinking of normal human beings anymore. These are beasts who now reside in the jungle. And they have taken upon themselves these hegemonic tendencies of what's his name, Usman Danfodio, that we must expand and conquer. This is their unrepentant legacy, and they must fulfill that commission. So you trying to integrate them while you have not even integrated those victims. We watched yesterday in Benue, talking about the Yeleweta people and what's his name, Babir's situation, where you are saying that when you have not even integrated them, you are discussing about the best fit for them to come back. You're not even considering where they are right now in the immediate. What is happening to them? They are without shelter, they are without future, they are without nothing. So bleakly, their tomorrow, including their children. But we have a government who is, particularly interested in integrating terrorists. I tell you, Sharon, and I will repeat, and I will continue to emphasize it anywhere I find the opportunity to do so, that this government, federal government, and all governors across the state that are in cahoots with APC are negotiating the lives of Nigerians as collateral.
To that effect, right? I also saw a news report that said that for the release of the Niger State students, we remember the abduction of over 100 Niger State students with their teachers and how the federal government came out to release them, right? And we heard that they paid the sum of close to $7 million or so, or naira, just because they wanted to make sure that they release those students. And another question finally, before we move over to the last story, is the fact that when you see all of this release and maybe people have been abducted and we're hearing that the federal government or the government found a way to release them, why don't we know the follow-up, right? What happened to the bandits? What happened to the terrorists? How did they go about their operations? Because of security, right? It's not that you come and give everybody your full detail or tell everybody how it happened. But really, Nigerians want to know, what was the fate of those bandits? Were they captured? Was there a crossfire? Did we lose any military man? What is now their future as we speak? Why is there that gap in communication?
Sharon, insecurity is so lucrative in Nigeria that even I may be tempted to join that business. Wow. Yes. Because if I kidnap you, Sharon.
Please don't join.
If I kidnap you, that's on a lighter mood anyway. But if kidnappers, all right, can kidnap 5 today and request 60 million, and you agree to that negotiation. In fact, there was a story by Idris Zakari that one deputy DPU, divisional police officer, was murdered by one of these, people. And when they were going to negotiate for the release of abductees, one of them wore the uniform of the deputy DPU to the point of negotiation. You negotiate with these people. It's not that you encounter them in a gunfire, subdue them, and release victims. No, you go around the table. In fact, they come, in the show of force, that they are there with their weapons, RPG and co, to sit down with top brass of our security outfit to negotiate the sum that they are going to be releasing each of Nigerian for. It means that the life of Nigerians, Sharon, I repeat to you, is a collateral.
The life of Nigerian is a collateral. And just as we wrap up, we're going to touch on a statement coming from Senator Shomole, and this statement he made during in Edo North, and he said this in an APC Congress in Benin City on Tuesday. He came out to say that political sins cannot send any Nigerian politician to hell. And this statement just really had me on a chokehold. It's the fact that these politicians are actually aware of what they are doing. For him to call it a sin, it knows that they're doing something wrong, right? Whether they're going to go to hell or not, the fact that they are aware that there are things that they are doing wrong, and he feels that no matter what you do, as long as you're in that position, you are doing it as a politician in Nigeria, that is not ground enough for you to perish in hell. And now my question is, how did we get to a situation and to a state where it is a normalcy for sin to be committed every single day by our politicians, not against anyone else, but against us, we the people, Nigerians?
Look, in my language, they used to say something. They will say, Enito Burumo. He's only looking for who to tell him. A wicked man knows he's wicked.
True.
These politicians are very much aware of what they do, of their wickedness against the Nigerian people. But, they enjoy the proximity you give them. You enjoy the lacuna. They enjoy the freedom, the free space you leave them to express these anomalies. And you will see how many NEPA officials have gone to hell. People swear and curse NEPA every day. Have you seen their MD declared wanted in hell? No. So he knows what he is saying. He understands what he is saying. And you understand that Nigeria is a place where atrocity festers, where sin, is celebrated, where mediocrity is the order of the day, where an above merit, where somebody who blows a whistle against a corrupt politician goes to jail, and the corrupt politician is hailed and celebrated. In fact, the corrupt politician gets promotion. Yaya Bello is there. He was declared wanted by the Anti-Graft Agency, Economic and Financial Crime Commission. What happened what did Tinubu do? Tinubu celebrated him on his birthday. We celebrate criminals. No. We celebrate nefarious attitudes. But when it comes to merit, we shy away. We're never in that WhatsApp group.
We're never in that WhatsApp group. And for how long are we going to be out of such said WhatsApp group and, talking about making Nigerians better and making Nigerians' life better at this point? But to you, Mr. Oladimiji, even as we wrap up, my final question now is, with what is going on, with everything that you have heard, with everything that you have seen, and I remember you just said now that Nigerians are waking up, Nigerians are taking things more seriously, and even though we're seeing just, few faces during protests, it would not take much for us to have a full-on reawakening or awakening of every single Nigerian. But what do you think that Nigerians have to be doing currently in order to get there?
We should continue to do what we are doing. Look, a revolution is like a spinning wheel. A spinning wheel has got many parts. Yeah. And all the parts play their responsibilities simultaneously. So if we continue to poke, into these politicians and find where they are most vulnerable, we take advantage of it. We will still continue to see these very frequent faces like the Sakaris that we are seeing, Mama Peace that we are seeing, all of them. But I tell you, just like the Arab Spring and that man instigated it, we would have that spore. Remember again, NSAS, something instigated it. And where we are today, make no mistake, NSAS is the catalyst. We wouldn't have gotten so involved if not that NSAS has shown us that we can do it. And the moment we try it again, they know. That's why every gathering is a threat to them and they disperse it. Seriously. You see them that they bring out police, they bring out armor tanks, they bring out everything against protesters. I do not like to add peaceful to my protest. Protest is protest. It is my right as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, amended 1999, even though my rights are not yet mine fully and exclusively, but I am aware of them. Yeah. And I know that I can enjoy these rights if I have a government who is sensitive, who is responsive, who is compassionate and competent, and with the will to attend to the plight of Nigerians. Nigeria is going down and down the precipice every day. We are delving down the aqua of the abyss. And what we are doing currently is the only thing that can save us from that abyss. But we must improve on it. We must have 10 Sakaris, 10 Idrises. We must have 10 Mama P's. We must have the 10 of Nigerians like you who sit down every day before Nigerians and say it as it is. Because it is not those on the field alone that does this job. Sure. I told you, it's a spinning wheel. We all must continue to play our part without keeping quiet.
And that part, no matter how small, is very essential in order to get us to where we want to get to and Absolutely. To accomplish that goal. So I do agree with you completely, Mr. Oladimiji, that no matter where you are, even if you're in the market, even if you're in a store, no matter where you are, you just have to take a stand and start somewhere. Start from your locality, start from where you are. You don't have to travel all the way to Abuja to protest. You don't have to travel all the way to Lagos to protest. If you're serious, if you mean it, you will definitely find a way. Thank you once again, Mr. Oladimiji Oluwafemi, for doing this with us, for bringing your expertise and sharing your thoughts and analysis with Nigerians. We cherish that, and we want more Nigerians to show that sort of interest when we talk about this country, because truly we have no other home but here. To also our viewers who have always stuck with us, watching, commenting, liking, we see you. We appreciate your effort. If you're watching for the first time, this is Active Citizens Parliament, and we do this Mondays through Fridays. If you're yet to subscribe, this will be the best time to go ahead to do that right now, and also subscribe across our social media platforms and also on our YouTube right now. Follow us on Active Citizens across all social media. And you, Mr. Oladimiji?
You can always find me on X
at Pivot Oladimiji, and this is my day 3 in the studio.
You can also find me across all socials at Sharon Enemchukwu. Till we see you tomorrow, do have a pleasant evening.
Well, I believe in the city boy movement, and I'm going to tell you why. Recently, some people who should know better said that Nigeria is now worse off than it was 10 years ago. Now, let me take your minds back to what was happening 10 years ago. In the Niger Delta, we had Niger Delta Avengers. They had bombed the oil and gas sector. Nigeria had gone from 1.9 million barrels per day to less than 1 million barrels per day. In the southeast, you had secessionists who had put that region almost to a standstill. 128 police stations were shut down. We moved down to the northwest, and then from Abuja to Kanu, you could not drive. Every day it was a death trap. People were being abducted, they were being kidnapped. In southern Kaduna, there was a genocide. People seem to have forgotten that. In the northeast, in Maiduguri, you had about 7 local governments where Boko Haram were in control. Now, because we have a very short memory in this country, we tend to forget about these things. All of these things have passed away. In the Nigerian Academy, Boko Haram went there. Our defense academy killed soldiers. Boko Haram attacked the presidential guard of brigades in Buhari. All of these things don't happen. 600 terrorists went with their motorbikes to Kuje prison, freed 849 of their colleagues. All of these things don't happen again. 10 years ago, states could not pay salaries. What's happening right now? Each state in Nigeria is getting at least 200% what they were getting 10 years ago. Somebody said the president is using jazz. No, the president is using performance. We've had 12 cycles of trade surpluses in this country. 12 cycles of GDP growth in this country. The IMF, the World Bank, they've projected that our GDP is going to grow by 4.44% this year. And then people are saying that the president is using jazz. No, it is performance. You watching this, have you ever slept in a petrol station looking for fuel? Have you even experienced fuel scarcity? If you're a student, ASU strike is like a thing of the past, ancient history. Why? Because we have a leader right now who knows how to handle this country because he has gone through the stages. That's why I believe in the city boy movement. I ask you, these people who are saying that Nigeria was better 10 years ago, let them right now, because if you remember last year, I drove with journalists without any security from Abuja to Kaduna. People can do that right now. In southern Kaduna, people are no longer being killed. Yes, we have security issues localized. But I'm going to tell you, in December, 1.2 million tourists visited Nigeria, Lagos for Dirty December. Not one was killed. Not one robbery. Not one domestic incident. So I'm telling you, Nigeria is better right now. We've gone from a foreign reserve of less than 30 billion. Right now, we have a foreign reserve of 50 billion, approaching 51 billion. In 2 years, President Tinubu has added $67 billion to the economy. What is there not to like? That's why I support the City Boy movement, and I'm urging you, remember where we're coming from so that you remember where we are today. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.
And so we bought tear gas mask. Yes, we have Vaseline. Since Nigeria has decided not to work, we have decided to make it work. Yes. This is just to show you we are prepared. 100%. Our reason here is simple. Umahi, what's your problem? What do you have against Nigerian women? Why are you always wanting to frustrate them? Why are you causing families pain? So that woman came and said you've been owing her for 12 years. 12 years. How do you owe somebody for 12 years? Now your wife go like her. Poor man they suffer. Hey. Poor man go work finish for big man. Big man no go pay. It needs to end in Nigeria. Now the other woman came from abroad, mobilized people in the diaspora to come and invest back in Nigeria. Yes, these people, Bob, you should allow me now. These people bought hundreds of hectares of land and you took it away. Umahi, this woman has been begging you for compensation. Every day crying. In fact, when they were demolishing one of her properties, her actually died and his heart failed him. His heart could not take the pain of what his sister was going through. And we are here standing in front of the Federal Ministry of Works to say, Umahi, you are not the only minister Tinubu has appointed.
Yes.
We are not scared. Maybe you are wondering why we are here. We are here to show Umahi we are not scared of you. And you are not beyond accountability.
Yes.
You must be accountable. We have brought women to show you that no woman,
No nation.
no woman,
No nation.
Umahi, what is your problem with Nigerian women?
Good
Nigerian
question.
police, we are and we're officials from Ministry of Work. The message to the minister David Umahi must be that he must know that he's the servant of the people. Yes. There will be no entertaining of oppression of citizens through the office of the minister. There have been ministers before Umahi and there will be ministers after Umahi. Yes. Nigerian women have dignity and they must be protected. Yes. If a woman or a citizen complains of injustice, Umahi cannot use his office to silence them. Yes. Nigerians will not tolerate this kind of irresponsibility and recklessness. Because it is a thing of shame that a man will call himself minister and you can flippantly sit down and say if you want to collect the land, you will collect everything. Yes. What a shame. No woman, no nation. No woman, no nation. Umahi must. No. Umahi must. We must protect our women. Yes. We must protect our girls. Yes. We must protect them from predators. Yes. Whether in office or out of office. Yes. Those of us where the Federal Ministry of Works, make una not die in silence. Come out and complain. You are under a dictatorship. Minister Umahi is worse than Pharaoh. Pharaoh like my people. Pharaoh like now only Umahi they cabinet. Now only Umahi and we can be minister. So we must drink water drop off from country. Why can we not rest? Because one person is minister.
One person.
Married women for that matter. No woman.
No nation.
No woman.
No nation.
No woman. We must protect our women. We must protect our girls from predators.